Love Island is a high-stakes dating reality show where sparks fly, hearts break, and nothing is ever as it seems. Set in a stunning villa, a group of sexy singles compete to find love and survive the twists and turns thrown their way. With 24/7 surveillance, shocking recouplings, and surprise bombshells, emotions run high as contestants flirt, fight, and form connections under pressure. As the public votes, alliances shift and drama explodes, turning paradise into a battleground, competing for love, loyalty, and a cash prize. It's seductive, addictive, and built for chaos. But there is a darker side to the glitz and glam portrayed on TV, a side that could lead someone to do the unthinkable. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Silent Screams, Fact or Fiction. If you are wondering about last week's episode, I will be dropping if it was fact or fiction at the end of this episode, so stay tuned for that. I would like to give a trigger warning for today's episode because there will be topic discussions on mental health as well as suicide, so if that is something that is hard for you to hear about, please catch me in the next episode. With that being said, I would like to say everything I'm about to share in today's video is alleged. I am not a professional. Everything is for entertainment purposes only. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. Do your own research. I gotta say that for legal reasons, but everything that I'm about to say in this video is for entertainment purposes only. Okay. Let's get into it. The darker side of Love Island lies beneath the glamorous vacation surface. It touches on issues that most people wouldn't even consider when it comes to reality TV shows. I mean, the real emotional and mental toll it takes on someone to be on a show like that, where emotions run high and there's just so much pressure from outside forces, not only society, but also the people in the show with you, the other contestants, as well as staff, so the producers. Although the show is packaged as fun, romantic entertainment, there has been some other troubling issues that have emerged over the years surrounding reality TV shows, leading to serious criticism and concern from the public. It is alleged that Love Island, I have to say alleged, y'all, because I don't want them to get my ass, you feel me? But it is alleged that Love Island uses a lot of psychological and production tactics to keep emotions high on the show. If you think about it, Love Island is really, not only Love Island, but a lot of these reality shows are carefully structured social experiments. Here are some of the main tactics that producers use to keep emotions high when it comes to shows like this. But to be specific, this is some of the tactics allegedly. These are some of the tactics that Love Island has used to keep emotions high on their show. So one is 24-hour surveillance. That's usually most shows. There is recordings going on 24/7 so that they can have more to work with. So no matter what you're doing, no matter where you're at, when it comes to Love Island, you are being recorded. You're trying to take a shit, they're recording you. You're trying to take a shower, they're recording you. You're sleeping, they're recording you. Wherever you go, there's cameras. Every single space in that place has a camera. There's even two-way mirrors that have cameras in them. So even when you're checking yourself and trying to put your makeup on, you are being recorded. So that's another psychological situation where you're constantly worried about what you may look like or how people may portray you because you're constantly being recorded. You never know what they're going to use when it comes to the recordings that they have of you. And of course, a lot of people know this when they go and sign up for the show, but you don't really know how draining it could be to be constantly nitpicking yourself for so many days. I mean, like, people are there for weeks at a time, always worrying about looking perfect because they're constantly being recorded. Not only that, but you're never alone, but we'll get to that. Another tactic that Love Island allegedly uses is time distortion. So there's no clocks in the villa. You're not allowed to have your phone, and there's no calendars. So you don't really know how much time has passed being in the villa. Okay, this quote is from a former contestant on Love Island. Their name is Kim Satini. I really hope I'm saying that last name right. I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. I don't think I'm saying it right, but Kim Satini, I think. The quote says, "One day in there feels like a week." That's a quote, end quote. One day can feel like a week. So time distortion is very, very real. It would be, especially in this day and age, not knowing what time it is, not being able to be on your phone, like time distortion would mess a lot of us up. This third tactic that Love Island allegedly used was sleep deprivation. Now, a lot of people have spoke about this online. Go look it up yourself. Okay, so if you guys have noticed in the show, in the earlier shows of Love Island, despite there being 24/7 surveillance, there is rarely any mornings shown in the show. It is alleged that the sleeping schedule is tightly controlled by the producers and is anything but natural. It is said that islanders usually stay up until 2 or 3 in the morning, depending on what had went on that day. It is said that producers will make islanders stay up later on days where there's been like heightened emotion situations like recoupling, so that they can get as much filming in as possible. So imagine going to sleep at 2, 3, 4 in the morning after having a long ass day with a bunch of people you don't even really know, and then being woken up butt crack ass early in the morning. But it is said that they usually woke up around 10 a.m., sometimes even later. But it is said that the producers control the lights in the bedroom. So, like, when the lights were on, it was time to be up. When the lights were off, it was time to be asleep. So, the islanders had no control over when they could sleep and when they couldn't. This alone would drive me insane. So, on top of that, not being able to sleep when you want to, naps were not permitted in the villa unless it was for medical reasons. This tactic kept islanders at a low level fatigue throughout their whole experience on this show. This alone would have emotions run high. It makes you very reactive to things. I don't know if you guys know about sleep deprivation, but it really messes with your psyche. So, for all my people that like to stay up super late and have to get up super early, it's not good. It's not good for you. I am also one of those people that is guilty of it. I'm doing it as we speak, but sleep deprivation is a real thing, and if you find yourself being more irritable throughout the day, it could be because you're not getting enough sleep. But moving on, another tactic that Love Island allegedly uses is producer led conversations and prompts. The producers would ask leading questions to point the narrative in a certain direction for filming. I mean, it's kind of self explanatory. Like, let's say so and so is dating such and such, but they want to make such and such look like they're sneaky and that they're flirting with other people. So they ask leading questions to manipulate the footage and make them seem like a whore. A whore. Now, tactic number 5 that Love Island allegedly uses is public judgment and popularity. The voting system that they have on Love Island is based off of popularity. So if people don't like you, you're out of there, which causes a lot of pressure, which causes you to act a certain way and portray yourself in a different light, or feel pressure to be loved and liked by everyone, which, I mean, anybody that is living their life or so focused on pleasing other people, most of the time you're miserable. I've been a people pleaser for a majority of my life, and there's nothing satisfying about it. Like, you can only please other people so much without like completely draining yourself in the process. This tactic alone can create so much anxiety because you're so worried about people liking you, not only in the villa, but the whole world watching, millions of viewers. That pressure alone can be exhausting. So the sixth tactic that Love Island allegedly uses to manipulate its contestants is games that target insecurities. There's been games on the show like the tweet challenge or the heart rate challenge that would expose private opinions that people may have that would then lead to other people having insecurities or feel some type of way about each other. I mean, just for women, I mean, I know men feel insecure too. I don't want to make this like a sex thing, but I know for me personally and other women, like being in situations like that where you're constantly comparing yourself to somebody else is draining. It's very psychological. It puts you in a low vibration. So the seventh tactic that Love Island uses to manipulate its islanders is misleading editing. So I mean, it is self-explanatory, y'all. They will manipulate situations and try to make someone seem like a villain or make them look a certain way by tweaking words, or I don't know how they do it. I'm not a professional, y'all, but they'll twist things up and make it seem like something it's really not. I feel like a lot of shows have done this and people have spoken out about like situations not being exactly what was portrayed on TV. This kind of editing can fuel online abuse. Making somebody out to be something that they're not can really lead to people getting trolled on the internet. It's just unfortunate, which brings us right back to being under surveillance 24/7, like constantly worrying about how people are going to portray you. The eighth tactic that Love Island allegedly uses to manipulate its islanders is the control of communication. When you're on the show, you're not allowed to have your phone, you're not allowed to be on social media, you're not allowed to contact family. The only time you have opportunity to speak to somebody about how you're feeling is with strangers you don't know, production, or when you go into a confessional. Just that alone can be so detrimental to somebody's mental health. I mean, not being able to vent to friends, family, talk to a therapist, a counselor, like for days and days and days, weeks and weeks. Not only that, but you're worried about being recorded all the time. So even if you do confide into somebody, whatever you say can and will be used against you in a court of Love Island, okay? Y'all, I keep trying to film in this fucking train. I'm just gonna keep going, and I'm sorry if you guys are annoyed by it. There's nothing I can do. Whoever keeps blowing that horn, you're on my shit list, bro. You're on my fucking shit list. God damn. The ninth tactic that Love Island allegedly uses, but it's not even alleged because it's pretty factual, it's no privacy. And this one right here would kill me, you guys. Having no privacy, constantly being around people, especially people I don't know, would drive me insane. I'm one of those people where I need my space, my social battery. It's only good for so long. This tactic, self-explanatory. I mean, even on the show, the living quarters, everybody's sleeping together in one big room. You're sleeping in the bed with somebody at all times. You're taking a shit, you're taking a piss, somebody is there. You all use one bathroom, which is disgusting in itself. I would not be able to do it, you guys. But we're gonna get into that. Anywhere you go, there's people. Anywhere you go, there's cameras. No privacy. Number 10 is not necessarily a tactic I think they intentionally use, but to a certain extent. It's nasty living conditions. I can't even tell you how many contestants are staying in one room. I should know this. I don't. But imagine, let's just say 15 people, 16 people, 15, 16 people sleeping in one room together. There's only a limited amount of space to store your stuff. So like laundry's getting piled up. You're sharing a bathroom, which leads to you sharing toiletries with each other. Ew, 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 ew. You share one kitchen. Like, it's just so many different personalities and people sharing one space. Some people may be clean, some people may not. From what I could gather on the internet and from what other people have said, is they get so behind on laundry. Sometimes they have to wear, there's been a situation where they had to wear dirty clothes. There's just so much going on in the villa. It's just so much going on. So behind all the glitz and glam, it's really allegedly nasty living conditions in some circumstances, is what I've gathered. This 10th one is not necessarily a tactic. I think it's just something that they lacked in when it came to the show, and it's emotional support and aftercare after leaving Love Island. And I feel like this goes for a lot of reality TV shows. Nobody talks about how you go into a show just being a regular person, and then you come out to so much fame and so much pressure. Once you're on one of these shows, you're like put under a microscope and people pick you apart. They see what they want to see when it comes to the show, or what has been portrayed of you on the show. So that alone, I'm rambling, you guys. But inadequate aftercare. I think a lot of people leaving the show should have emotional support. They should be checked on. They should be given resources to help them deal with the shit that they had to deal with in the show, but also what they come to deal with after the show. The show's lack of long-term support really came to light following former contestants' deaths. There has been some controversy around these deaths that are connected to the Love Island show. Now, a lot of people believe that if Love Island would have been more attentive to these contestants and one of the co-hosts, or hosts, I'm sorry, if they were more attentive and intentional, maybe they would still be here. But I'm going to let you guys decide. Should Love Island be held accountable for these people's deaths? Or is it just a tragic turn of events? I don't know. Now I'm going to speak about a couple of contestants that were on the show Love Island, as well as a host that worked for Love Island. The first contestant I'm going to be talking about today is Sophie Grattan. Sophie Grattan was born on October 25th, 1985 in Newcastle, England. Her mother's name was Deborah and her father's name was Colin, and she also had a sister named Charlotte. From what I could find, Sophie and her sister Charlotte were pretty close. It was said that Charlotte really looked up to Sophie. Sophie's early childhood was in Gosforth, a suburb in Newcastle, before the family moved to Potnan. Lord forgive me, you guys. I'm so sorry. I'm really trying my best. I believe it's Portland. I want to say Portland because that's, shout out Portland. Potnan. I'm not making fun of the place. I'm just really sad that I can't fucking say it. Please don't come for me. Portland in Northumberland. I'm butchering it, bro. I know it. They moved there when Sophie was around 10. During Sophie's upbringing, she was known for being very vibrant. I mean, everybody loved Sophie. Everybody. She was just a very kind soul. Sophie attended Dame Allen's school and later completed her GCE advanced levels at Portland High School. GCE advanced levels is basically harder high school classes you take to get into college in the UK. Sophie then went off to university to pursue a degree in media, culture, and society. Sophie didn't just have brains, she had beauty as well. In 2008, she was crowned Miss Newcastle, and in 2009, she won Miss Great Britain. Sophie was also well known in the Newcastle social scene. She was involved in multiple charities, one specifically being Sarah's Hope Foundation. This foundation was helping children that were fighting cancer. She also did modeling and worked as a marketing manager. In 2016, Sophie Grattan made her first appearance on Love Island UK. She entered the villa as an original OG, triple OG, triple. Okay, I play too much, y'all. I'm sorry. In the show, Sophie originally coupled with Tom. After Tom's departure, Sophie formed a relationship with Katie Salmon, which was the first same-sex couple in Love Island UK history. Shout out to my LGBTQ community. Sophie left the villa voluntarily on day 39. This was around July 4th of 2016. After Sophie's departure from Love Island, she did remain in the public eye, doing social media and making public appearances on talk shows and stuff like that. In 2018, Sophie spoke in great detail about her experience with cyberbullying and internet trolls.
Comment after comment. I mean, commenting on the way you look, the way you talk. They would come up with an opinion on who you were based on 45 minutes of a TV show, you know, where you'd probably be in about 5 or 10 minutes of that TV show put down from, 24 hours. It was very hard to deal with because you take it as you're being judged on you as a person, but they don't know you. But it can really, really get into your mind.
She talked about how it had a huge impact on her emotional well-being, how situations like this caused her to have extreme anxiety and depression. She described the experience as horrific and explained how most of the comments would criticize her appearance and the way she spoke, which caused her to be extremely overwhelmed. She often spoke out about mental health issues, and insights like these really highlight the fact that even though she seemed outwardly positive, she was struggling with her own mental health issues. On June 20th, 2018, Sophie Grattan, who was 32 at the time, was house sitting for her parents. Her boyfriend, Aaron Armstrong, was not able to get a hold of her at this time. He began to worry because he hadn't heard from her since the night before. Aaron then called his brother Ryan to let him know what was going on, and they decided to go check on Sophie. When they arrived to the house, they proceeded to knock on the door, but there was no answer. They peered through windows to see if they could see anything, but they couldn't. Once they got no response and couldn't see anything through the windows, they decided to forcibly enter the home. Once they got inside, they found Sophie hanging in a spare bedroom. Emergency services were called, but unfortunately, Sophie was pronounced dead on scene. In April 2019, her death was ruled suicide by hanging. The inquest revealed that she was 2.5 times over the legal drinking driving limit and under the influence of cocaine during the time of her death. The coroner highlighted that this combination could have significantly increased suicidal thoughts. The coroner stated, and I quote, "It is more likely than not Sophie Grattan had consumed a significant quantity of alcohol and cocaine to significantly affect her mood and actions." In the aftermath of Sophie's death, her parents questioned the final findings of the inquest, suggesting that an undiagnosed medical condition could have influenced her mental state. They believe that this condition could have had a severe and brutal impact on her cognitive reasoning. Her parents believe that she had AVM, which is arteriovenous malformation. I'm gonna give you guys a definition because I had to look it up. The definition of AVM is an abnormal connection between arteries and veins, usually in the brain or spine. AVM is usually presented at birth. The arteries and veins in an arteriovarious malformation can rupture, causing bleeding into the brain or spinal cord. Now, I don't know what the link between AVM and Sophie's decision to end her life could intertwine, but that was her parents' perspective on what happened. At least it was at first. I don't know if they might have changed their mind, but that was their initial perspective. The days leading up to Sophie's passing, her friends and family said that there was no signs that they had anything to be worried about. Sophie's parents noted that right before Sophie had began house sitting for them, she explained how excited she was about this new relationship that she just got into and was excited to let her parents meet him when the time was right, suggesting that she had hopes for the future. After Sophie's passing, friends and family constantly described her with so much love and affirmation, saying how they lost such a kind, loving soul. Deborah and Colin Gradden released a heartfelt statement expressing their love and heartbreak after Sophie's passing. Their statement expressed their profound grief. I'm gonna read that for you guys right now. Quote, "It has been 1 week since we lost our precious daughter, and we as a family are still coming to terms with our sudden loss. Our hearts are broken." I would also like to share with you a statement that Sophie's sister Charlotte made. It really made me sad, you guys. Here we go. Quote, "You will never know how much I idolized you and the ground you walked on. Growing up, I was always so immensely excited to see you, and that never stopped. I'd copy your outfits growing up just to be an ounce as cool as you and talk about you nonstop. You were everything I wanted to be and more. The most caring and hilarious person I know." End quote. Sophie's death occurred 2 years after leaving the famous show Love Island, but the timing didn't discredit the impact the show may have had on Sophie's untimely ending. Sophie's death brought a lot of awareness to the mental health, I would say, crisis around reality TV shows. This sparked an uproar on how reality TV shows needed to be held accountable for mental health awareness. While Sophie did not speak out about being a victim of editing tactics on Love Island, her mother, Deborah Gradden, made some serious allegations regarding the show. She spoke out about the manipulation that Sophie may have endured during her time on the show. In an open letter to ITV, Deborah claimed that Sophie Gradden was manipulated, deployed, and stage managed to do basically anything at the producer's request. She further stated that Sophie tried to leave the show multiple times and was only allowed to leave on her fourth request. Deborah also criticized the mental health support that Sophie received after leaving the show. She claimed that Sophie was only offered a 10-minute Skype counseling session, despite her struggles with depression and anxiety. These allegations suggest that even though Sophie didn't speak publicly about editing tactics, her family does believe that she was a victim during her time on Love Island. A lot of fans and viewers say the same thing. Sophie was widely criticized after breaking up with Katie. I read a few Reddit statements online that said Sophie was highly judged while other Islanders were not, like Terry, like Terry, and they believed that it was a sexist situation. I have a quote from Reddit right here, and it says, "They treated her as if she committed a crime. Watching her cry made me cry." Another user said, "The way they treated Sophie, no one stood up for her. It was like they were ganging up on her for reasons that were just absolutely absurd." A lot of Reddit users and myself personally believe, like, if you look back at the footage, Sophie does look very isolated and just sad during a lot of the villa scenes with the other contestants. It's just the viewer's point looking in on the show, but you can tell that Sophie did feel very isolated and just alone and sad, especially after the Kate situation. Now I would like to dive into another tragic loss that is related to Sophie's story. Do you guys remember when I said Sophie was excited to introduce her parents to her new boyfriend? Well, that brings us to Aaron Armstrong. Sophie and Aaron began their relationship in May of 2018, shortly after meeting on a night out. According to several sources, the romantic connection was brief but emotional and very intense. Their relationship only lasted about 5 weeks before Sophie tragically died on June 20th of 2018. Aaron was devastated by Sophie's sudden death, I mean, he was one of the people that found her, so I can only imagine the psychological torture he must have been going through after finding his girlfriend like that. Friends and family described him as utterly heartbroken at this time. They also said that he was unable to cope with the shock of it all. Days after Sophie's passing, Aaron would post on Instagram tributes to her, pictures and messages. I'm gonna read one of the messages for you guys right now. Quote, "I will never forget that smile. I love you so much, baby. You are my world, forever and always." Even though their relationship was very short, from the pictures and from what friends and family have said, they were very much in love, and they were cute, you guys. Aaron did tell friends and family, well, mostly friends, that he was struggling and really could not see a future without Sophie in his life. Tragically, approximately 20 days after Sophie took her life, her boyfriend Aaron took his life. On July 10th, 2018, Aaron was found hanging in his bedroom in his family home. He had spent the previous night drinking and partying with friends, and he came back late evening, early morning. Unfortunately, it was his mother that found him that next day. Similar to Sophie, the coroner discovered that Aaron was under the influence of alcohol and cocaine at the time of his death. Now, the coroner did rule out no third-party involvement, but did not officially rule Aaron's death a suicide. Here's a quote from the coroner. "It may be that the effects of the alcohol and cocaine led him to act on impulse." I mean, the combination of the two can make you very impulsive. So they don't think that he went in that night with the intent to end his life, but unfortunately that was the turn of events that occurred. Sadly, after the loss of Sophie and Aaron around the same time, there were some rumors that I found online about them having a suicide pact, which I think is just disgusting and honestly disrespectful to the families. There is no fact to that rumor, but I did want to mention that because it was something that I did find. Personally, I don't think that would have even been a thing. It just doesn't make any sense to me, but I just wanted to share that with you guys. The next Love Island contestant we're going to be talking about is Mike Thalassides. Mike was born on January 19th, 1993 in the North London suburb of Edmonton. Please, UK people, don't come for me. I don't know why it is so hard for me. His parents, Eddie and Shirley, raised him with care and strong family values, the kind that came from their Greek Cypriot roots. Again, I really hope I'm saying that correctly, and I apologize if I'm not. I mean, no disrespect. Mike wasn't an only child. He shared his early years with his older brother, Nick. They grew up in a household where laughter, tradition, and family meals were an everyday thing. Mike's surname, Thalassides, which means of the sea, carried a piece of heritage with him everywhere he went. It was a quiet reminder of where he came from. Greek customs were not just celebrated on holidays, they were Mike's foundation. From a young age, it was clear that football wasn't just a hobby for Mike, it was a true passion. And when I say football, I do not mean football, American football, I do mean soccer. I just want to clarify that. Okay, y'all here with me? Y'all here? That passion led him into a semi-professional football career where he played for several clubs. I'm going to read them off to you because I couldn't memorize them fast enough. The clubs that he played for included Stevenage, Boreham Wood, and Margate. These are all UK clubs, I believe. Don't quote me on that, okay, guys? Mike's dedication really paid off when he got to represent Cyprus at the U19 and the U21 levels. In 2014, Mike suffered an ACL injury, and although he returned to playing football for some of the clubs, it did ultimately affect his momentum and passion for the sport. I'm going to insert some of Mike's highlights so you guys can see some of his gameplay. Mike retired in late of 2017 to turn his focus to television. Reality TV gave him a new direction, one that led him away from football and into the spotlight, a new form of spotlight. On June 16, 2017, Mike made his first debut on season 3, Love Island. Mike entered the villa as a bombshell contestant on day 12. When he entered the villa, he went on 2 dates, shaking up the established couples in the villa. One of the contestants that he went on a date with was Olivia Atwood. Mike later chose to couple up with Olivia, who had been in a strong pairing with Chris Hudgens. This decision sparked major tension in the villa, especially with Chris. This led the public and other Islanders to give Mike the nickname Muggy Mike. On day 17, after a vote, Mike and Jessica Shears were kicked off the island. Their sudden closeness after them leaving the villa sparked rumors that they may have had something going on, which caused drama for Jessica's former partner, Dom. Mike then returned back to the villa on day 33 by a public vote. He then coupled up with Taylor, who had just been through a breakup with Johnny. Mike and Taylor were then voted off together just days after being recoupled, bringing Mike's Love Island journey to a close on day 44. On July 18th, 2027, Mike's drama-filled stay on Love Island made him a memorable cast member, which was a good and bad thing in Mike's case. Mike later appeared on Celebs Go in 2018 and became a well-known reality TV personality. He appeared on the 4th season of Celebs Go Dating, where he dated members of the public under the guidance of relationship experts. He gained praise for showing a more mature side of him on Celebs Go Dating. He also made public appearances and worked with fashion and style brands, gaining him influencer status on social media. From the outside looking in, Mike had it all. The glamorous life, the fame, the looks, the clothes. But just like many other stories like this, you never know what's going on behind closed doors. On the morning of March 16th, 2019, at approximately 9:28 a.m., the Metropolitan Police responded to reports of a man hanging in a park in Edmondson, North London. A jogger was out running that morning and reported the findings to police. Police and paramedics arrived promptly after the 999 call and pronounced the man dead on scene. On the same day, Mike's management and news outlets confirmed that the body found in the park was indeed Mike Thalassides. On June 5th, 2019, the North London Coroner's Court ruled that Mike's death was indeed suicide by hanging. Everybody hold on to your hats for this one. Toxicology reports did reveal that Mike had alcohol and cocaine in his system. Coincidence? Probably. But I mean, the irony of the similarities to the 3 deaths behind, or the 2 previous deaths behind Love Island is crazy. It is a little weird. It's a little weird, okay? The coroner noted that the physical cause of death was asphyxiation, which is reduced oxygen to the brain. Police also recovered a black notebook near Mike's body that was described as some diary entries, some positive affirmations, and letters to his family. In the notebook, it contained addresses and phone numbers. In the notebook, Mike clearly stated that he had the intent to end his life. Mike ended his life approximately 20 months after leaving the show Love Island. In the days leading up to Mike's untimely death, his friends and family said that there were no signs that Mike was feeling suicidal. In an interview with the Mirror, Andy's father stated, and I quote, "We just didn't see it coming." Mike's mom, Shirley, also shared that they think about Mike every single day. Oh yeah, that just gave me chills. I can't imagine losing my child in that way. Losing a child, period, for a parent is just complete and utter tragedy in itself, but losing your child like this, I can't even imagine. I just couldn't even imagine. Mike's parents also expressed their frustration with Love Island and the lack of support that their son received after leaving the show. They said that all the pressure from the newfound fame could have definitely played a part in his untimely ending. On top of difficulties with sudden spotlight from the show, Mike did struggle with other things going on in his life. Months before Mike took his life, he was caring for his grandmother who had dementia. He had moved in with his grandmother and was taking care of her up until she passed away. This had a huge effect on Mike's emotional mental state. It was reported that losing his grandma affected him deeply. So on top of the new spotlight and the loss of his grandmother, he was also working on a new business endeavor. He was working on opening up a cafe with his friend. This business endeavor was supposed to be a fresh start in building something more stable to get out of the spotlight. Just like our previous story with Sophie, Mike's death did spark controversy about mental health awareness and the lack of support a lot of people received when it came to being on reality TV shows. Unfortunately, the Love Island tragedies don't stop at Sophie and Mike, which brings me to our next story. Caroline Flack was born on November 9th, 1979, at Chase Farm Hospital in Enfield, North London. Caroline was the youngest of 4 siblings. Her twin sister Jodie was born about 6 minutes before her. She had an older sister, Elizabeth, and an older brother, Paul. Shortly after her birth, her family relocated to Thereford, then East Wretham in Northwick. Caroline attended Great Hockham Primary School and Wayland High School. This is where she developed a passion for dance and musical theater. She performed in local theaters throughout her school years. At age 16, Caroline left home to attend the Bodywork Company in Cambridge for training in dance and musical theater in 1995. Early on, Caroline realized that even though musical theater was her first love, she may not make it into the big leagues when it came to that, so she decided to refocus her sights on being on television. At age 22, Caroline landed her first proper role on TV, and this was on Channel 4 on Bose Selecta. I'm not sure what that is, but it's a UK thing, you guys. This role really kickstarted her career into TV. After this role, you guys, she landed some roles on some well-known shows such as The X Factor, Fear Factor, and a few others. Now, fast forward, Caroline Flack became the host of Love Island in 2015. This was when ITV2 relaunched the series after a long decade pause. She was chose to be the host on Love Island, not only because of her strong background in television, but also because of her charm and TV personality. She just had an infectious smile. You guys, when I tell you, looking up videos and pictures of Caroline, she had such an infectious smile. I can't even explain it. Caroline had this light about her. She was definitely meant to be a star. ITV2 placed Caroline on a very high pedestal. She was highly respected and cherished working for Love Island. She was the face of Love Island as it rose to cultural prominence. Her slow-mo villa walk-ins and dramatic delivery became iconic. She was considered vital to the show's brand. She brought warmth, humor, and empathy to the show. And the rumor is that she played a big emotional role not seen on camera. Caroline often checked on contestants, offering support after being kicked off of the island or leaving the villa. She would try to do her best to help them if they were dealing with media backlash. I want to read a quote from her, you guys. She said, and I quote, "I see my job as looking after islanders. That's what I'm here to do." She also stated in a 2019 interview, "It's so important that they are looked after. They go through something massive, and it doesn't just end when the cameras stop rolling." Now, reflecting back on to Sophie and Mike's case, it has me wondering if Caroline ever checked on them after their time on Love Island. She did actually work with both of them, which is a crazy coincidence considering. But yeah, I just wonder if she ever checked on them. I couldn't find any information on it, but I'm pretty sure that she probably did keep in some kind of contact with the two after they left the show, or at least checked in on them. But there's no solid proof proving that she did. Caroline worked 5 seasons on Love Island before controversy stirred up in her life and caused everything to come tumbling down around her. On December 12th, 2019, police were called out to Caroline's home in London following a domestic dispute. Caroline's boyfriend Lewis made a 999 call, alleging that Caroline attacked him while he was sleeping. During the 911 call, Lewis was heard shouting, quote, "She tried to kill me," end quote, which police said prompted an immediate high-level response. He had reportedly claimed that she hit him over the head with a lamp, although this was never confirmed. When police arrived on the scene, they had found blood in the bedroom, on the bedding, and the walls, indicating that a struggle had taken place. Caroline and Lewis were both present and both had injuries. Caroline had cuts on her wrists from self-inflicted wounds. She reportedly harmed herself immediately after the incident. Lewis had a head injury, although it was not serious. Police described Caroline as distraught and confused and just completely out of it. They said when they arrived, she was just apologizing over and over and over again. Caroline was arrested and taken into custody on suspicion of assault by beating. She was charged with assault by beating and appeared in court shortly after. Despite Lewis saying that he did not want to press charges and did not support the prosecution, the court did decide to move forward with the charges. Caroline pled not guilty and was let go on bail, but the judge imposed strict conditions on her release, one being that she was not allowed to contact Lewis directly or indirectly at all. The no contact order was in place until her trial that was set in March of 2020. Caroline was devastated from having to be separated from Lewis, as well as the ongoing stress from the legal situation that was at hand, which significantly contributed to her emotional distress in the weeks that followed. Due to these ongoing circumstances surrounding the incident with her boyfriend Lewis, Just 4 days after the incident, she stepped down from hosting Love Island. Caroline remained the topic of aggressive tabloid headlines that painted her out to be a monster. These tabloids often portrayed her to be unstable and violent. At this point, Caroline felt humiliated, isolated, and misunderstood by everyone. According to her friends and family, she described herself as being in the worst place emotionally. ITV announced that Lori Whitmore, a close friend to Caroline, would be hosting Love Island Season 6. Although Caroline publicly expressed her support of this decision that Love Island made, friends and family did say that she was devastated behind closed doors, absolutely torn up inside that she would not be hosting for Love Island anymore. She felt hurt. She helped that show rise up to the top for the past 5 years, and they just kind of pushed her off to the side. In the weeks following her official departure from Love Island, her mental state started to deteriorate significantly. She experienced intense emotional instability, started to have panic attacks, and even started to self-harm. According to friends and family, she felt completely abandoned by the industry she once thrived in and felt that her career was over. At this time, Caroline was staying out of the public eye, often hiding at friends' homes or just keeping herself inside, very, very isolated. The situation worsened on February 14th when she was informed that her trial was due to continue even though her boyfriend Lewis did not want to proceed with pressing charges. That evening, she spent time with her friend Lou, who tried to comfort her through this hard time. Lou actually ended up spending the night with Caroline to be there for emotional support. Now, the following day, on February 15th, Lou did leave the flat at around 10 a.m. to go run errands. Sometime around 2:30, Lou came back to the home and was not able to gain entry to the house. Knocked on the door and there was no response. Lou then called 999 and let the police know what was going on. After police arrived on the scene, they gained entry into Caroline's home and found her unfortunately hanging in her bedroom. She was pronounced dead on scene. In August of 2020, the coroner announced that Caroline's death was suicide by hanging. The coroner said, and I quote, "Caroline took her own life. She had an emotional storm brewing inside of her. The media, the press, the public were all a part of the problem, as was the prospect of her prosecution." And just like with our other stories, Caroline's family was absolutely devastated. Even just looking at pictures of Caroline and videos of her, she was such a bright light, you guys. If you ever get the opportunity to, I highly suggest you go watch her documentary. I haven't even watched it yet, but just looking at little snippets of her and seeing her work on Love Island, she was just, I don't know, she was just a bright light. You could tell that she touched a lot of people, even with just her smile. Like, her smile was very, very infectious.
She was my little girl. It doesn't actually seem real.
1 year on from her tragic death,
I just wish I could have told her not to do it. I never got opportunity to do that.
we pay tribute to one of Britain's biggest stars.
If she
All three of these suicides all tie into Love Island. Now, I'm curious, you guys, how do you guys feel about Love Island's hand in these deaths? Do you believe that Love Island could have did more that may have prevented these things from happening? Or do you think it's just a tragic coincidence that all three of these people worked for or worked with Love Island? Me personally, especially with Caroline, I believe that if they would have reached out in some way, it could have prevented things from happening. And this is my unprofessional opinion. Love Island's producers should be held responsible, especially for the situation with all three of them. But pertaining to Sophie and Mike, they put them through psychological turmoil, and they should have had resources available for them after their time on Love Island. And with Caroline, they should have been there for her on the simple fact that they worked with her for so many years. But that just shows you that in this industry, people are disposable. People only matter while they're valuable to you. It's just, ugh, I can keep going and going on this subject. I did want to insert some of the changes that they have made since the tragic losses that occurred. So really quick, I just wanted to tell you guys what they did change, although I feel like they could do a lot more, like maybe not psychologically with people, but that's besides the point. I'm gonna list a few things that they changed and then we're gonna call it a day. So one thing that they changed is pre-filming psychological screening. So they make sure everybody goes through a psychological screening before they're allowed to be on the show. And I feel like a lot of other reality shows have added that to their regimen as well. The second thing that they changed was enhanced pre-show education. So they do educate the islanders on what will go on, what they will endure before they enter the villa. They also teach them how to deal with trolling and press, which they should have, had this down pat. But anyway, they teach people how to cope with the backlash of social media and whatnot. Number 3 is on-site mental health support. So now they do have a 24/7 access to mental health professionals while filming, which is great. We love to hear it. Post-show aftercare program. So it's a minimum of 18 months. So after leaving the show, islanders are offered therapy sessions, regular check-ins, and continued social media guidance, which is great. Love to hear it. Protective social media management. So islanders are not allowed to access their social media accounts while filming. Ask friends and family to manage their accounts respectfully. Okay, that I don't even know why that's on there. Okay, yeah, it don't matter. So basically that's it, you guys. Those are the things that they changed, which is great. Awesome. I still think, and I don't know this for fact, but I'm pretty sure that they still use psychological tactics to enhance the show and make it really dramatic. I think putting people under those certain circumstances is it's messed up. It's messed up. But, the world we live in, it's not perfect. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you guys liked today's episode. It was kind of rushed, you guys. But we made it. We made it to the end. And, we're here. All right, you guys. Check on your loved ones, especially the ones that seem okay, because 9 times out of 10, the ones that are holding it together are the ones that are really, really struggling. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot. Okay, for the people that do care about the last episode and want to know if it was fact or fiction, it was indeed fiction. It was fiction. It was a story that I heard on TikTok that was actually fake, and I just kind of put my own twist, my own little razzle dazzle on it and made it my own. But yes, the story was fiction. Is there anything I'm forgetting to say, guys? I don't know. Bye.